My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
Alrighty, this is Southwest Airlines, and this is the U.S. military that's using Southwest Airlines stalking. Now, you're recalling what they're doing when I am in Upland, along Euclid Avenue, all the way up in Upland, California, at the 10 freeway, while I'm at what is the intersection of 7th Street and Euclid, and the entity is crossing path, hovering like this, north of this location. And this isn't even near the airport. Okay, the entity is doing this under the fake sun. This is the same setting when I'm in Upland, where there is no airport, where you're even farther away. You've flown miles and miles away to another city, stalking. This is the psychotic behavior, the unintelligent conduct of the obsessed stalkers, the homosexuals who are the U.S. military, breaking down their foolish stalking system that they're doing in concert with the people of the state, who are inevitably surrounded with evidence. They are being federally prosecuted as treasonous betrayers, who are engaging in what are warfare against American citizens in concert with the U.S. government. That's what the city of Ontario is engaging in. And they're doing this. Also, pay attention while you're breaking down the scene here, because the entity is progressing up all the way across the El Bacon, Ontario Town Square. When I'm at the library, they're engaging what is hovering over the city hall, over the senior citizen complex. And that's an entirely different location over here. This is the Wells Fargo. And then that's the Ovid Family Community Library. And that's where the entity is maintaining presence. But it's clear that the entity is stalking. I just want to show you where I'm at, where the entity is sharing in that psychopathic pacing. This is the walkway in between the library and the senior center, where the people of the state are pacing on foot with their dogs. That's what this is right here. Okay? And this sex offender is engaging what is stopping, monitoring. There's nothing open over here. This is stalking with light. This is the second time she did that. License plate T54384 Edward. Excuse me. This is a male. It is essentially a female. This isn't a man. License 75484 Edward. This is the light activity. This is the Montana plate. And this is the state. Okay, this is the entity that's maintaining light activity. This is the P.O.C. All right, this is the entity that's engaging in what is stalking you conspicuously, and doing so with regard to disregard for the consequences. But I just want to be clear, the consequences is a prosecution for treason. When you're dealing with the mentally ill, that's the type of behavior that you're going to get. They're going to be isolated from the rest of the American public. This is a threat that they're engaging in, an ongoing, inexplicable stalking 24 hours a day, including even in the bathrooms. Inexplicable surveillance and interest in your genitalia. This is the entity that's going to be separated from the American public. Okay? This is P.O.C. This is what the U.S. military is engaging in, and they're doing so at 5:46 a.m. There are no Southwest Airlines flights, and there are no Southwest Airlines flights to any destination while you're hovering over the town square, while you're in Upland, California, and you're hovering over there, just floating over 8th Street, stalking me in the path. These are the entity. This is the entity that's obsessively stalking. Okay, this is P.O.C. I want you to see what is the stalkers in the city of Ontario engage in that criminal activity. This is P.O.C. All right, these are demons that are engaged in that pattern of conduct. Excuse me? What premises? Taking pictures where? In the public? Well, you can't be having your hazard lights on in the public. Why? Where?
Don't take videos of my vehicle. You have to know.
Okay, I don't know about that, but this is public property, and this is the light activity they're monitoring. Okay, this is the entity that's stalking with Ontario Police, by the way, that's crossing path, while the people of the state that are gang stalking in real time are telling you that you can't, while the U.S. military is gang stalking and they're monitoring with that. That's audible activity. Okay, that's P.O.C. The entity's engaged in this with the entity that's engaged in psychopathic pacing. All right, that's the pattern of conduct. And then also, I want to be clear, all of that statement is facilitating activity creation, and you are absolutely going to document the entity that's engaging what is threatening your life and gang stalking you. And the entity is severely mentally ill. That's why I asked them questions regarding what they're talking about. They have a minor in the car while they're engaging in the psychopathic behavior of stalking a stranger and further into murdering them. This is P.O.C. This is the town square. It is currently 5:50 a.m. on Thursday, May 7, 2026. Here is Southwest Airlines progressing as I progress. This is where I'm typically at, the side of the library, and they fly over the 280 North Limit Apartments. Now they're flying over the Ontario Town Square, as opposed to flying over Euclid Avenue and hovering over B Street. They're flying over diagonally across the property based on where I'm at, stalking. Southwest Airlines, again, that's the U.S. military, 5:57 a.m. This is stalking. Stalking that is executed through the use of aerial surveillance using commercial planes, and the U.S. military thought that this was a clever idea, that no one would know that it is the U.S. military, and that it wouldn't even be recognized as stalking merely because of the logos. And this is clearly stalking. And it's also a horrifying means of stalking by mentally ill people. These are the homosexuals that are practicing witchcraft that is failing them. They are humiliating themselves while they are shown to be a stalker. The U.S. military are professional stalkers. As you can see how pathetic American medical response is, stalking in ambulances under a fake sun, standing around a stalker, all right, while they are all together monitored. This is the entity that's engaged in, it's pathetic. Okay, and it's demoralizing while I capture it for the world to witness. And this is all means of terrorism, and all of it's being defunded. Okay, you have a fire truck, all the lights and the sirens and all the money and resources and all the disruption that goes on, but it's not a disruption because they're all monitoring to that. Okay, the entity is engaged in a clear progression. When I'm at Euclid Avenue and all those demons are pacing on the street, and the demon that does not work over here, stating that I can't take pictures, is monitoring. That was all audible activity while they're engaging in the same pattern, the flashing of light. Okay, the activity under the fake moon. The fake moon is progressing as I progress east back toward this location where Southwest Airlines is. The people of the state are going to prosecute. Right, they're going to compensate. You're going to prosecute that company. It's the U.S. military. Okay, P.O.C. It is currently 5:59 a.m. where the entity is doing so outside of what are the legitimate operations. The Ontario International Airport does not have any legitimate operations. It's engaged in terrorism. And that's why the U.S. military is using commercial airline planes associated with what is the commercial airline companies that are maintaining flights at the Ontario International Airport. That airport's being shut down, and every airline is being federally prosecuted. And the corporate entities, such as Southwest Airlines, are being federally prosecuted for no ordinary crime. This is treason that the people of the state, including corporate entities who are the same people of the state, the government is hiding behind wearing the mask of corporate entities while they're engaging in surveillance, just like the U.S. military is stalking me in Southwest Airline planes. And they're going to be federally prosecuted. This is treason. This is levying war against American citizens who are being gang stalked by a population of demon-possessed people at that. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6 a.m. This is a stalker. That's Securitas, the psychopath that's stalking with light, while the entity is stalking by commercial plane. She's going to prison, and she's going to be subject to mental examinations. This is the entity that's engaged in what is conspiring together with the people of the state, doing so while they're engaged in domestic terrorism. She's engaged in what is federal group stalking and monitoring while on the job. This is Securitas that's going to be federally prosecuted. They're mentally ill employees, Leo, included, are engaged in gang stalking, doing so with the entity that is targeting. This is, I believe, United Airlines that maintains no flights that are going to hover over a senior citizen complex at 6:05 in the morning. Doing so while this demon is stalking in the path, going to access the Securitas golf cart, which she uses as a means of psychopathic pacing and stalking and molesting with impossible light while she's engaged in criminal monitoring for the duration of her workday. This is the corporate actor Securitas that's going to be federally prosecuted for treason. All right, engage in what is levying war while your gang stalking employees are targeting with the U.S. military in the world where you are maintaining what is a means of facilitating domestic terrorism, gang stalking. This is P.O.C. This is what's wrong with Leo. Leo's going to prison as well. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:05 a.m. This is pacing while they're now stalking and flying right over here while I'm at the square, and I was showing you how they're deviating where I'm deviating. This is clear stalking, but it's more than stalking. It's monitoring. It's psychopathic behavior. The entity is not merely following where I'm at, knowing where I'm at. They're engaged in repeated acts of crossing paths over and over again. This is the mentally ill behavior, the psychologically harmful purpose of criminal monitoring your movements, monitor devices, monitoring what it is that you are, what I am documenting rather. So this is the U.S. military's intrusion into a federal case, which is also why they're going to prison and not getting out. When an American citizen has successfully prosecuted and proved that the government is engaged in criminal activity against it, is monitoring, and is engaging in that with the people of the state, and then the U.S. military has the goal to engage in what is seeking to obstruct justice, which is every kidnapping that the Ontario Police Department, in concert with the U.S. military, the people of the state, committed. The entity, these homosexuals are going to prison and they're not getting out. Okay, and they're absolutely psychotic. This is not going to a destination either. This is clear stalking, and Securitas is engaged in clear stalking. And this is where fake sun rose yesterday, and as I returned from Upland, this is where the fake sun set. Those are the unintelligent demons that are practicing homosexuality while they are mentally ill monitoring. That's why you're engaging with plane after plane after plane, where you are doing more exceeding stalking because they are indeed mentally ill. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:07 a.m. This is it. Okay? This is exceeding stalking. And this has nothing to do with the airport. Neither does it in Upland, California. Okay? Where the city of Upland, the people of the state in Upland, are going to be subject to the same treatment under federal law. P.O.C. See, progresses where I'm at. Stalking through an environment are the mentally ill. Stalking in planes are the mentally ill. This is not any elite force. The U.S. military are using Alaska Airlines, commercial airline companies, to engage in that which those commercial airline companies have no legitimate bases to engage in. Okay? And it was a highly unintelligent plan and a plot. They are showing themselves to be enemies of this country while they form corporate entities to wage war against American citizens and then making money as well. This is a RICO case as well. You could absolutely prosecute under RICO. This is the entity that's going to be federally prosecuted for violating Article 3, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution, though. Treason, okay, and it's high treason. This is P.O.C. The entity, as you document, as you prosecute, you're looking at the frequency of the planes. This is relevant to what is mental illness. The more they're pacing, okay, this is breaking down their mentally ill behavior. This is what the entity does by helicopter. As I'm capturing them, engaging what is that psychopathic pacing, this is what the entity is doing. They're pacing with regard to what is mentally ill behavior. These are not human beings. These are demons, and I'm breaking down their conduct. You're also going to analyze it with regard to what is a threat in the first place, because you're stalking and you're engaging in more and more of this mentally ill behavior, and that is under the facts and under the law going to be treated as a threat. But these are demon-possessed actors, and I'm breaking down their mentally ill behavior, what they're engaging in, and it's obvious with regard to their criminal activity. There are no planes that are taking off from the airport hovering over the city hall. This is an obvious prosecution for Pollyon. This is not a mayor, and he's not staying in it. This is preposterous. He's going to be federally prosecuted. In fact, he's been prosecuted successfully via my social media. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:09 a.m. I'm showing you some serious stalking underway while the military is flying second by second, plane, while I am updating my Android device, while I am wiping up my phone clean. This also, not only is this relevant to what is an obsessed stalker, okay, but it's, and criminal conduct, gross criminal activity, but the ongoing endeavor to block or affect rather, because it's not necessarily blocking, it's whatever it is that you're doing that's being monitored. This is an unlawful search. So the entity is flying plane after plane after plane after plane after plane regarding what it is that I'm doing. And the entity is specifically very much fearful of my evidence. While, again, these are mentally ill. This is mental illness. So, and this is the ongoing campaign regarding awareness. The mentally ill make up the military, the mentally ill make up law enforcement, the mentally ill make up the very community where you are being monitored. Okay, the mentally ill are demon possessed, and this is a population, and this is awareness. Okay, the entities engaging in what is mentally ill behavior, and these demons that try to masquerade as normal, red blood pumping human beings like you and I that are being targeted. They're not the same. That's why they're targeting other people who are sane, who are the other. And the other is the exception. The norm is mentally ill, the demon possessed. Okay? And wrap your mind around that, because that's the reality. That's why you're under the fake sun. That's why that's why the government went to the extent to maintain a whole environment that is literally maintaining an illusion. That's why this is the existence, and this is the creation of a system. Now, when I start speaking and recording right now, a holy hush. These are psychopaths. When they think that no one is watching, they've been doing this for years, and they've been being watched. So it's also known how psychotic they are. Okay, but they've also been watched engaging in homosexual sex rituals while then they get up and wipe themselves off like they're engaging in normal, socially acceptable, expected behaviors. They've also been watched engaging in what is theft, engaging in what is fraud, engaging in what is flat out lying, defamation, and then watching how they adjust themselves, they being the entity that is gang stalking, when the entity that is Satan, that's the behavior of Satan. These are the behaviors of those that are psychopathic. That's how we as human beings utilize what is categorizing behaviors that are a threat, that are abnormal, that are antisocial, that are threatening to the rest of us. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that plane after plane after plane after plane after plane. And it's notable. What's going on is that I'm wiping my phone clean, and I'm also creating what is a Google account. The entity is very fearful. While the conviction, the prosecution, the proof is already there, and everyone knows that the U.S. military nobody has been under you're talking about the don't ask, don't tell. The reason why homosexuality is so much of a subject with the military is because they're demons. In case you did not know, this is not about offending anyone. This is not even personal. This is the truth. Homosexuality, with regard to the significance of sexuality, sexual activity, period. Sexual activity, sex in and of itself, the process whereby procreation exists, is a spiritually significant act. And there is a reason why the Lord God created it between a man and a woman. He created it that way, meaning it is blessed that way within the union that he is at the center of. Anything else, such as fornication, you're practicing witchcraft. Did you know that? It's demonic. It's of a demonic spirit. Did you know that? When you are engaging in homosexuality, you're engaging in demonic activity. You are, in fact, entertaining demonic spirits that are literally using your genitalia as a portal, your vessel itself, while you are engaging in demonic behaviors, including with those, for example, having sex with witches. And this is exactly what the homosexuals of the U.S. military are fully apprised of, which is why they're engaging in, gross homosexuality. And I don't mean gross as in disgusting, even though they are disgusting. Look at what they're doing. But I mean a tremendous amount, heavy homosexual rituals engaged in with regard to what they are associating with their ability to successfully gang stalk someone. Gang stalking is demonic, and it's directly tied to their homosexual activities. And this is how you're getting to what is relevant regarding don't ask, don't tell legislation, where homosexuals, where demons want to be treated, and it's not a matter of what they want. They want to socialize. They want to condition your mind. They want to popularize demonic behaviors such as homosexual activity. This is why the demons who are celebrities, who are influencing you, who you're following, who make an impression upon you, they're demons, and they are speaking on behalf of Satan while they are living their homosexual lifestyles in front of you. But I also told you, and I've shown you, the pattern of conduct has demonstrated to you that even these labels are an illusion. These are homosexual predators that are monitoring my vagina in the bathroom, living their lives every day as though they're heterosexual women. They have children, they're married, or they're with their boyfriend. Their boyfriend's even waiting outside of the bathroom, who is monitoring my vagina as well. These are homosexual acts. You are obsessed. The demon-possessed, they don't have a gender. Okay, understand. Remember, these are spirits that are using our vessels. We are women and men. The spirits, these are demons. Okay, so they are occupying our vessels. These demon-possessed females are homosexual. They are obsessed with my vagina. Okay, they salivate over it. They lust after it. They're envious of my vagina when they have their own. Not only that, you have a man, don't you? Why are you stalking me and obsessed with my vagina, going in the bathroom, anticipating, lying in wait, calling yourself ambushing me in my vagina when you are aware of everything that's going on in that bathroom? Why are you interested in it? Why are you keeping it under surveillance? Why are you stalking me and waiting for the opportunity to engage in monitoring my vagina? Why is that? That is homosexual by definition, but it's no ordinary homosexual. That's a predator, okay? The entity's engaging in, because what I'm not doing is I'm not equating homosexuality with being, for example, a pedophile. You're not necessarily interested in violating children because you are interested in the same sex. But I will let you know, in case you did not know, homosexuality, the impulse to engage in sexual activity with that of someone of the same gender, that's demonic. It's a spirit. It's a demonic spirit. And this is not about hurting anyone's feelings. This is the truth. And Satan knows it very well. That's why these cults are centered on sex, perverted sex acts such as bestiality. It's demonic. Pedophilia, It's demonic. Homosexuality, it's demonic. Promiscuity is demonic. Okay? Adultery, you have an impulse to cheat on your spouse, the person that you're married to, that's a spirit. It's demonic. Satan thrives out of all of that. Okay? And it is directly tied to what is also this same mentally ill spirit. So these demons that are pacing around are doing so with regard to monitoring my device, and they're engaging in what is conduct, which is the product of their demon possession, and they are submissive to what are homosexual acts, where they are, again, have been misled by Satan because their homosexuality has led them to no victory whatsoever. What they found is that they've been able to torment and terrorize and affect, and in other words, murder and kill people that are demons like them, that are succumbing to that same spirit like them. Okay, it doesn't work on a child of God. Someone that is covered by the Holy Spirit. Someone that is also engaging in what is walking in obedience to what the Word of God says, because that's where your protection is. And no homosexual can summon any demon on you. Okay? Nor can you be blinded by it. The entity, not only are they engaging in what is stalking, while the U.S. military is over here stalking with planes and Securitas is stalking with light, you know what the city of Ontario is doing? Stalking. What the U.S. military is doing, what the pattern of conduct, what the unintelligent demons have concocted is telling on the co-defendant, the people of the state, the city of Ontario, a co-conspirator of murder, while the U.S. military is engaging in that psychotic behavior, plane after plane after plane after plane, while they are convinced that they're not being recorded, while they're convinced that they are obstructing the ability to create a Google account on my phone. It directly affects my devices, your devices. It's an unlawful search, all right? And it's relevant to the ongoing warfare that the entity is engaging in while you're stalking. This is what they're doing to American citizens in other parts of the world that don't have a constitution. While the entity that's doing so, well, they certainly aren't documenting it. And the entities engaged in this against American citizens that are subject to being defamed and kidnapped and murdered. They're dead already. And you know nothing about the surveillance system that the U.S. military wages against American citizens. All right, P.O.C. This is UPS that is now engaging in what is hovering. And the city of Ontario is gang stalking inside a Page One cafe. They're doing so where the fake sun is rising. And I returned last night, and you'll see Securitas, the African-American female whose license plate I also provided. She's going to prison. She's already gang stalking with the city of Ontario by helicopter. Remember that? The entity is engaging in monitoring with all Securitas security guards, and they are under the fake sun right now in the morning at 6:33 in the evening. And I also have them gang stalking me in the evening, engaging in the same pattern of conduct where the fake sun comes with me from Upland, California, back to Ontario at this same location where the Paul Leon is being federally prosecuted and exposed as a domestic terrorist, where the fake sun remains over an American citizen whom he is targeting with the U.S. military that's perfectly comfortable flying over the Ontario City Hall, engaging what is open corrupt conduct. Okay, and that is at what is 6:12 p.m. You will see Securitas gang stalking under the fake sun at 6:10 p.m. at the same side of the Ovid Family Community Library. So what this demon with the mop on her head is doing is compared and contrast and juxtaposed with what the demon with the weave on at the same Ovid Family Community Library. And this is 12 hours apart. This is where the U.S. military is engaging in that. And I'll go ahead and take a screenshot for you to witness the supernatural again, where the city of Ontario are the demon-possessed. They submit to homosexual acts, which is demonic. The entities engaging in, this is not about calling a whole bunch of people homosexuals and being all of these labels where the demons want to distract away from what is entertaining Satan's purposes. This is not about equal rights for the LGBTQ. This is not about being homophobic. This is about understanding the ways in which Satan is getting in and using you, deceiving you in this satanic system. This is Satan's system. It's not about abortion rights. It's not about me having control over what I do with my body. If I want to murder my fetuses, then I have every right to do that, which is also false. But nonetheless, I'm not going to even impute my opinion into that. That's demonic. They're sacrificing. They're engaging in what is a demonic activity when they sacrifice. That's killing a living thing inside of their vessel. And the demons are very much aware of the fact that they are killing life. While you have all these questions, this ongoing pontification, what is life? At what point does life start? All right? And is it really the cessation of life if the person hosting that life is the one remaining in control of taking that there? It's a bunch of nonsense. These demons are engaging in sacrifices. It's demonic. This is the entity that's engaged in that is engaged in gang stalking, which is demonic activity, and it's occurring under a fake sun. They're engaging in ritualistic behavior, which also accomplishes searching your devices. And this is the U.S. military that's entirely mentally ill. They bend over for men, and they do that under things like a fake moon, and they howl at the fake moon, and they cut up cats, and they eat it, and they engage in what is having sex with children. They do all the mentally ill things that I'm describing. And it is insufficient with regard to trying to contend with the Lord God Almighty. You cannot contend with it. Okay, you're going to see pacing right now. Securitas driving off, and the African-American male studying his device, looking down, look at the fake sun at the Page One Cafe. The fake sun's at this same library at 6:10 p.m. yesterday evening after I left the Upland Public Library, where Colin Sheehy is gang stalking me at 5:59 p.m., where that fake sun stays when I stay in Upland, California. And there's only one sun. So what is going up and down Euclid Avenue over me? That's the environment where the mentally ill homosexuals who are demon-possessed engage in a demonic system, which they use to, they've been deceived into thinking, but you need to know, because there are people that succumb to the system. Demons that they are attacking other people with. This is very much a supernatural pattern of conduct. All right, demons where they're engaging in what is attacking you, spiritually attacking you, and then also attacking you in the physical. And in the physical is where I'm prosecuting for treason. Okay, the U.S. military that's using corporate entities to engage in stalking, masking itself as the people of the state. And guess what? The people of the state don't have any basis to engage in this stalking either. Southwest Airlines, UPS, FedEx, Alaska Airlines, United Airlines maintain no flights and have no purposes whatsoever and no legitimacy flying at 5 and 6 in the morning, at 6 in the evening, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon over the City Hall, the Senior Center, the Senior Citizen Apartment Complex. You're not maintaining any flights from that airport. And the homosexuals who have been deceived by demons thinking that they can do anything and everywhere and no one's going to see them and they're magical, have crossed the line with regard to what is, you're never being able to unsee the stalker that is the U.S. military. The homosexuals that are the U.S. military, they're demons. And they're engaging in terrorism. And I'm also describing to you the ways in which Satan has deceived them. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:37 a.m. And the entity is monitoring on my device with regard to what they are fearful of. You're so magical, right? But you're engaging in what is fear of little old me and my Google accounts, okay? My evidence, my pictures that don't mean anything, but you're dipping and diving and engaging in what is a psychotic level of stalking in planes, spending millions of dollars, in other words, trying to stop my little free Google account showing evidence that's very damning. And it's also not stopping because you're even going to prison for that. They're going to prison for engaging in what is treason regarding the most minor things, such as my inability to use a bathroom without someone lusting after my bodily fluids. Trying to dig in the trash can for a used maxi pad or a tampon. Or stalking, engaging in what is surveillance. And the most pathetic means that you see the people that say, these aren't people, these are demons. Satan has humiliated them. He's made them into creatures. That's why they have their babies in the backseat while they're gang stalking another woman. You're a homosexual. That's a demon. While you're living your life like you're concerned with your man, you and your so-called man, he's not a man. He's a demon, and they're both obsessed with my vagina. These are spirits. And your ability to understand that, I'm showing it through the fake sun documentation. The sun is over me from 6:33 in the morning to 6:10 p.m. as a matter of tangible evidence for all of you to witness. I am not speaking anything that's a matter of my opinion. Homosexuality is demonic, and it is a tool where the demon-possessed are engaging what are attacking other people. Now, in the physical, because we're not in a courtroom talking about ghouls and goblins, what we are talking about, however, is the behavioral health concern. And what in the mentally ill person's mind, what they're associating with other people while they have an impulse to attack them and steal from them and lie on them and try to harm them. Now we're getting into mentally ill behavior. That's where your beliefs regarding what it is that you're practicing, and there's evidence. You've got an incurable STD based on your reckless behavior, and your reckless behavior you're attaching to somebody that doesn't even know you, that you don't even have a legitimate interest in, while you're practicing a whole system regarding what is an illusion. They're under a fake sun, stalking people in ways in which they thought no one was going to be able to prove, and then that's the basis upon you're defaming their character, while you're engaging in what is the very conduct that you're accusing them of, such as homosexuality, such as prostitution, such as drug distribution, such as pedophilia. These are the things, this is what you do in your life? And you're accusing them of that? while you are the one that's walking around with the condition that you are trying to blame on that targeted individual, this is very much relevant to prosecuting in court, in other words, for mentally ill behavior. They're mentally ill. Okay, and this is the ability to use what are their failed spiritual practices as tangible evidence, including, this is diagnosis by prosecution, including this, P.O.C, to have them diagnosed, to have them committed. You're not going to merely be prosecuted and be dishonorably discharged from the military. You're going to be committed. Have a field day, flying in circles. I told you this years ago. Flying in circles over me by helicopter, stalking by light, pacing over and over again in planes. They're being committed. And this is literally what the medical professionals are going to refer to. You're going to listen to this commentary because you know the context regarding what else they're doing. In addition to the feds know what they've been doing, lying, and what they were trying to do simultaneously. Okay, we're going to gang stalk over here, and then we're going to have these court hearings. We're going to purge her and talk about how crazy she was when she was 12, and what she was doing, what she was talking about when we were at elementary school. Just literally making stuff up. It's ridiculous, but that's okay though, because it's going to backfire. This is literally evidence to have the mentally ill, in fact, put where they belong. While you call yourself targeting an American citizen, you've been levying war against an American citizen, which is a system that the entity is doing against American citizens throughout the country. And this is what the people of the state are doing with the U.S. military. This is very much engaging in what is treason. And they're unintelligent. The mentally ill don't know when you've lost. That's also relevant to your mentally ill conduct. That's a threat to the public. Oh, you don't know that you should stop when you're trying to stop that evidence from being created? When you're trying to stop it from being put on the internet, meaning you're aware of it and you don't know that you should stop? That's relevant to your mental illness. You're being committed. And everyone is watching that. You don't have any HIPAA rights. In fact, we all know that this is an illusion. HIPAA serves an illusion. So since we're all out here in everyone else's business, everyone knows that you're mentally ill, and everyone knows that you are being committed. Everyone. The world. And it is for the protection of the public that be known, by the way. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:42 a.m. And that's all relevant to the unlawful search of my devices where the entity is going psychotic. You hear it? No plane? Very, very quiet. But when they think that they're getting away with something, which they're not, and they haven't been. And you clearly aren't when you're floating in the air in Upland, California over Euclid Avenue while the fake sun is over me. Pray tell, what do you think that you're accomplishing or getting away with? They're mentally ill. And it is a national security threat. This is diagnosis by prosecution. P.O.C. It is 6:43 a.m. That's no takeoff from an airport. And that is Southwest Airlines. Hovering over the Senior Citizen Complex at 6:03 a.m. And 6:43 a.m. P.O.C. This is where the fake sun is present, 6:43 a.m., and this is where the fake sun is still present at 6:10 p.m. And I'm going to upload those screenshots for you to see the terrorists. That is Southwest Airlines, while the U.S. military are utilizing Southwest Airlines, which are the people of the state gang stalking together, vicariously acting in concert with the U.S. government, targeting an American citizen in furtherance of murder. This is very much treason by corporate entities. P.O.C. All right, Securitas engaging in molestation with impossible light. She's doing so with the overweight Latina female that works at the Page One Cafe. I've documented her under the fake sun in the middle of the afternoon before. They're engaging in what is driving from the parking lot where the Ontario Senior Center is, and driving toward me through that walkway. And it's not headlights from the golf cart, and it's also not sunlight. So these are demons. That's a supernatural act. It's as supernatural, the light that you see dragging across the walls, that's what they're touching all over me with. This is the African American female that wears the mop on her head. I describe it as a mop because that's what it looks like. And she is engaging in what is mentally ill behavior. It's the same behavior as Leo at nightfall. These are demons, and they're also very hostile. The hostility is demonstrated through the stalking, molestation with light, in the same way that it is also deduced with the psychopathic pacing, for example, in the aircrafts. The entities engaging in this together, I want you to listen to this because she's going to be committed. And this is criminal activity by Securitas. The little spotlight, and she's a psychopath that doesn't look, doesn't speak to you, and engages in that. That's what the demon possessed do. When I'm capturing video and I start describing the pattern of conduct, you can pay attention. You see them in the car like you're not there, like they don't see you. I'm like, hey, Ontario, are you Ontario police? And they're monitoring you, stalking, and they're acting like they're not aware of even your presence, like you can't hear. Like you can't even hear me speaking. That's the mentally ill behavior. Okay, the disconnect regarding the demon that's engaged in that conduct and the human that wants to avoid, but you're not avoiding it. In fact, it's even exacerbated while you're engaging in that illogical and abnormal behavior. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that conduct, and she's engaged in what is molestation with impossible light activity, and she's doing so while she is stalking with the U.S. military. This is the evidence that's going to have the people of the state committed. She is psychotic, she's pacing all around, and she's engaging in what is an unlawful touching, mentally ill behavior. So is the demon inside of the Page One Cafe. And I have her and her partner, they work in the Page One Cafe, gang stalking, while I am making purchases inside of that cafe, and the fake sun is shining through. Impossible light is in the back of that cafe area, and this is after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So what is it that you're selling me under? What is it that you're walking in? What is it that's all over the counter and the register? And what's touching you while you're making noise, monitoring back there, and doing so under a fake sun? They're mentally ill. Okay, this is an entity that's in a whole illusion regarding the environment, and then as you expose it, they engage in acts of hostility, as I've shown you, molestation with what is shooting light. These are psychopaths, and they literally call themselves retaliating against you, doing something to you when they are attacking you with light. They're going to be put in mental institutions where they can shoot at each other with light. Very sick. These are not people, they're demons. Okay, these are demons, and Satan has made them into creatures, into critters. Okay, and these are what they do. Their lifestyle is, you need to understand, Satanism is made up of pedophiles. It's made up of Jezebel spirits. Those are whores. Highly promiscuous, breaking up people's marriages. That's adultery. It's the significance of what they do is they just want to have sex with you because it's demonic. They're getting to a spirit. Those that are engaging in what is homosexuality, it's about the sexual activity. It's demonic, and they're engaging in that. And this is Satan that uses their vessels in order to do so. That desire to do so, it is demonic. And so this is the entity that's engaging in what is literally spiritually attacking through sexual activity, in case you did not know that. This is the entity that's very mentally ill, and this is a cult that's engaging in this sort of conduct, gang stalking, which is criminal activity, and it's also tailored to what is mentally ill behaviors, and this is the ways in which you're going to neutralize the threat. This is very much the entity that needs to be separated from America, and then they're going to be martial law, so they can all remain separate from the American people that they pose a threat to. And that includes the U.S. military. This is P.O.C. The entity, that's Securitas, that's engaging in that and doing so while they are all stalking with light. You're stalking with light, meaning you are creating light activity and you are stalking me in doing so. The fake sun goes wherever I go. Okay, I'm going to go to the middle of the field. That's where the fake sun goes. And then you are plopping yourself there and walking there. That's stalking with light. The entity keeps the environment over here. That's how they're stalking with light. You are also stalking with light when light is flying through the air out of nowhere to touch me on my person. That's also stalking with light. Okay, you're stalking with light while you are in the path, aiming light in someone's direction. These demons are engaging in that while they are monitoring. Okay, criminal monitoring is mentally ill behavior. It's demonic and it's mentally deranged. Okay, P.O.C., this is what Securitas is engaging in. This is an African American, and the entity's doing so from 6:33 a.m., 6:10 p.m. Where you hear the entity gang stalking, my phone is restarting at the same time that you hear this plane activity. They're monitoring my device. It's an unlawful search with the demons that are pacing. The elderly woman that lives at 280 North Lemon Apartments and a demon that's crossing path under the fake sun, walking his dog, staring at his device. They're monitoring together. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently, and they are in sync with my device. This is an unlawful search. So everything that they're doing, it is criminal monitoring you, your person, your thoughts, all right? Your genitalia, that's how detailed. And it's also an unlawful search of your devices. Everything that's going on the internet and on the devices, every single device is under surveillance. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:54 a.m. Alrighty, I just want to show you. Let me go ahead and give you. This is the U.S. military, and this is stalking. This is UPS, and like I stated, all of the airlines are sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct. The entity is engaging in. This is monitoring on my device. Never mind that. The entity that's engaging in what is doing cartwheels in alignment to my path. Let me back up and show you. They're engaged in what is stalking in the path. This is what they're doing while I am on Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. This is what they're doing while I am at the Stater Brothers parking lot, the Ontario Village Shopping Center, in alignment with my. This is what they're doing when I'm at the Ontario Town Square, sitting at the bench, stalking in the path. This is what the entity is doing, like I described in the afternoon after stalking, flying over Euclid Avenue, and then seconds later, as I described on the podcast, look at the Google Drive, you'll see the demons that are stalking me under the fake sun that's still over me at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. No matter where I'm at, the fact that it's still over me at 2 in the afternoon is how you know that they're stalking. It's very clear. No controversy whatsoever. But I want to document this. This is the entity that's gang stalking at 6:57 a.m. It doesn't matter whether you're coming from a terminal. It does not matter even whether you're using a commercial plane. This is an entity that's maintaining surveillance. That's the military as well. Maintaining what is audible activity, psychopathic pacing, ongoing activity creation in concert with all the demons that surround who are monitoring. And the entity is doing so in an environment where this fake sun is here. It's 6:57 a.m. This is where I'm standing, where Securitas is engaged in what is demonic behavior. Your demonic behavior is going to be the basis to have you committed, and there will be no controversy regarding whether the target individual is mentally ill and is hallucinating and is making it up. The entity is targeting me with that which is impossible light in the shade. When you are driving in this, sunlight's not going to shoot at you like through a light gun and touch all over my person. And that's what the African-American female with the mop on her head driving the Securitas wagon is doing, while the people of the state are pacing in and out of Page One Cafe. They're monitoring. And this is the criminal pattern of conduct regarding targeting someone, psychologically torturing them. They also do this concerning the absence of any privacy regarding your vagina, regarding your genitalia, period, whatever gender you are, in the bathroom, any bathroom, where it's under surveillance. And the evidence of surveillance, I'm going to show you this. The fake sun is still here. Remember, I went to Upland yesterday. This fake sun followed me, remained over me to Upland, okay? And then I came back, and this is where the fake sun is setting here, okay, at 6:10 p.m. I'm going to show you that right now. And that's the entity that is gang stalking. It's an unlawful search in your devices. We are all under surveillance because this is over you in whatever state that you're in the U.S. And I'm limiting it to the United States, but this is going on around the globe. The United States is engaging in surveillance of those outside of the United States, and all of those outside of the United States are engaging in surveillance within the United States. We do not have any privacy. Your children and their genitalia is a matter of information outside of your household, outside of the U.S. That's how much you do not have privacy. That's how much the U.S. military are engaged in treason with the people of the state. I'm prosecuting the entity for that in the United States, while they've targeted me, okay? This is the 6:59 a.m. fake sun. This is the 6:09 p.m. fake sun, as I am, show you where I'm at, walking from, excuse me, hold on. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and show you, here is the environment, the same environment yesterday, where you're looking at this fake sun here, taking a picture of where Southwest Airlines is gang stalking. All right, as you can see them targeting in a specific environment, doing so while the fake sun is remaining where I'm at. And this is where the fake sun is at yesterday. So let me go ahead and show you real time where the city of Ontario is gang stalking. This isn't emptying garbage. I'm going to show you the malice of demons. He's a stalker. He's monitoring me. You see that engineer light on the dumpster? It's not sunlight. The entity is engaged in amplified audible activity. This is what they were doing also inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, monitoring my vagina, keeping a woman under surveillance inside of a private space, doing so as the city of Ontario. Well, Leon is being removed from position, okay? And you have a bunch of demons that are pacing, okay? The entity is engaging in this, and 12 hours from now, the fake sun is still here, and that's what you see above. criminal monitoring in real time, where the U.S. military is using commercial airline companies to engage in surveillance. And they're doing that with the American people. These are not Americans. Being an American has a definition. In the same way where they're wearing bad wigs and covering up their bald spots and gang stalking while they're walking their dogs under the fake sun, it's an excuse to engage in what is crossing path, okay? No thank you, no thank you. But you're into women, I would suggest finding a man while you're stalking. No thank you. This is the entity, you have to be in my path stalking me to hold up your middle finger. This is the entity that's doing so with the government. They're mentally ill. You're not insulted by the ones that are keeping your vagina under surveillance. And this is the illusion regarding what is focusing on me, okay? When she should be focusing on very much the deficit of edges around her scalp while she's gang stalking under the fake sun. This is the fake sun that's still here after 6 p.m. where the U.S. military is stalking with the city of Ontario, with bald-headed demons, with demons with bad wigs, with demons that are engaging in what is feigning like they're engaging in a job inside of the Ovid Family Community Library. They're all going to prison. Okay, so the letter that you have the Ontario Police giving me on March 3rd, 2025, it was under the fake sun. It was P.O.C. Okay, at 10:17 a.m. That would be 11:17 during daylight saving time. It's 7 right now. He's going to prison. Sean Thrasher's going to prison. This is where the entity is gang stalking. And so I want to show you the significance of where the U.S. military, highly unintelligent. All right. You've got all this academy training. All right. You've got all this classified information. You've got this elaborate scheme regarding targeting someone. And I'm documenting you with a Google account that you're terrified that I create, okay? While I capture the facts. Because the facts are that there is no natural environment where Securitas is going to be under the same environment 12 hours apart. But that's where this demon with this wig, this bad wig on her head, is stalking and molesting with light. And that's the evidence that's going to have her committed, okay? This is where the entity is engaging in that conduct. And this is where the entity is engaging in what is stalking. Stalking in unfathomable manners, such as with light. This is a demon. And that's the ability also to see them. Okay? The entities engage in this while you are doing so in concert with the U.S. military. Not the U.S. military engaging in what is gang stalking by itself, and the people of the state don't know about it. This is 7:06 a.m. and at the top, this is 6:10 p.m. I'm going to prosecute, in other words, Securitas, based on even the evidence of science and the ongoing criminal cooperative conduct of the people of the state who are engaging in a pattern of conduct that I've shown you. They're the mentally ill that are stalking with light. Because they're monitoring. And they engage in what is demonic behaviors that you need to be aware of that make you vulnerable to what are spiritual attacks by Satan. In other words, if you don't know Christ, that is your protection and walking in obedience to the word of God, which is not religion. Okay, religion are what the demon-possessed practice, and they use that as a stick to try to disincentivize you to walking in protection from them while they're monitoring you. That's who you're getting your opinions and your references from. Oh, that's religion and that's not real. They're demons. You've been listening to Satan. Satan that's sitting in churches, saying the name of Jesus while monitoring me and keeping my vagina under. That's who you're listening to. While they don't want you to have the truth regarding the fact, they cannot penetrate the Holy Spirit. They cannot touch you when you walk in obedience to what the Word of God says. When you're not being a demon like them and entertaining demonic spirits through promiscuity, through homosexuality, through bestiality, through pedophilia, through even entertaining it, watching pornographic, sexually perverted, the act of sex itself, which is wrong with their minds. It's a spirit. Okay, and that spirit does manifest in perverted behavior. But it is a spirit. It's not a fetish. It's not just something that you need therapy. It's a spirit. And this is relevant to what the demon-possessed that are homosexuals of the U.S. military thought was going to make them successful. And all I'm showing you is no, they're demons and they're stalking under what is science. Okay, science is speaking to the fact that this is impossible, and this is where the U.S. military is targeting. You are literally targeting, by virtue as a population, the entire city of Ontario is engaged in targeting me, and they're targeting my vagina as well. They seek out my bodily fluids. They engage in what are maintaining an illusion about society. They're doing so in concert with their demon-possessed children who are fully engaged in this criminal pattern of conduct. And as Securitas and Southwest Airlines, UPS, FedEx, the United Airlines, Alaska Airlines, the city of Ontario are showing you, they're doing so as corporate entities. All right, that's the significance of having a fake sun at the same location 12 hours apart. Okay, this demon's engaged in stalking with light. She's doing so on behalf of the U.S. military, who are also demon possessed, and their demon possession is evident while they're engaged in clown-like behavior, stalking in planes. P.O.C. It is currently 7:09 a.m. at the Ovid Family Community Library. 7:11 a.m. And that's Alaska Airlines. At the Ovid Family Community Library. (7:13 a.m.) at the Ovid Family Community Library. Taking pictures, the entity now doing a cartwheel instead of progressing across the Ontario Senior Center, and they're doing a cartwheel in alignment with the positioning of my person underneath the covering of the library. Targeting. And it's all targeting by the entire population in the city where the U.S. military is gang stalking with commercial planes. This is a psychopathic behavior. This is exceeding, understanding the significance. This is beyond stalking, and this is the type of medical attention that the demon-possessed need, as I'm highlighting the conduct that they engage in and the mentally ill behavior and focus, the objective behind what they're doing. This is the entity that requires detailed medical attention regarding their sick minds and what they're doing when they're targeting another person. This is supposed to be psychological torture. This is an entity that is exposing the depths of their mentally ill, their behavioral health concern, in other words, that threatens the public. This is serving no legitimate purpose, and it also makes no rational sense, especially while they're being analyzed and they're not accomplishing their purpose. And it's criminal, and they're engaging in that for no reason other than to stalk someone. All right, for murder, to engage in murder. This is the entity that's engaging in activity creation. This is the same one pacing outside the Premium Cafe. The demon making what is known as cross the path. It's all activity under a fake sun that's over this walkway for 12 hours. Very mentally ill. So this is P.O.C. and you'll see him studying his device. You'll listen. They've become very concerned when I start talking about the medical attention that they're going to receive. They're going to be committed. So this is activity creation. What you're listening to is just one thing after another after another. It's the same thing with regard to ongoing incessant presence, which they maintain in bathrooms. That's how mentally ill they are. The entity is very, very much engaged in what is deranged behavior, and this is because they are demon-possessed, and demon possession, which you are able to recognize through the behavior and in the environment, is not only engaged in what is an unlawful search by the U.S. government, in concert with the people who are in the shoes of the U.S. government, searching your devices, violating your privacy, engaging in sexually perverted means of surveilling you. They're also doing so as an entity that is mentally ill. Demon possession is a threat, in other words, to the public. And you are aware of all of them because they're all under the fake sun that is over you. This is information, this is awareness, and this is the reality of the beast system. The entity is engaging in this, and there is no route to success for these demons, and you're watching them exhibit how mentally ill they are when they're engaging in an obsessive endeavor, which is exposing what is literally providing a tutorial for how they operate and what is wrong with them as they engage in it, and everyone around them knowing what they're doing, all right, while they are doing it. This is an entity that's very, very much focused on continuing what they don't know what else to do while they have reached what is a brick wall, if you will. So I'm just getting to what psychologically, they don't have any route to success. You're not going to complete any sort of, they've sacrificed themselves. And mental illness is not funny, but this is supposed to be the elite military. There's nothing elite about being homosexuals who are engaging in what is trafficking kids and stealing from them. They're thieves. They're stalkers, and they've made a joke out of things that are supposed to be like identified as heroic, such as EMTs and ambulances and firefighters and police officers. The military,
Stalkers, demons, psychopathic, just going around in circles over and over. They're psychotic. They are psychotic and they're obsessed with me, one who they do not have any authority to even approach. Okay, so this is the entity that's doing so, and the demons that are all around, cleaning, doing the landscaping, emptying the garbage, driving the school buses, working in the city hall, working in the library, driving on the roads, and they're all demon possessed, stalking together. All of them. It's all working together, and they're all inferior. All of them together. It's not a numbers game. Okay, this is the entities engaging in a pattern of conduct, and the demon possessed have altogether been exposed and have been exposed with regard to what are tremendous repercussions regarding the U.S. government that's been maintaining the system successfully against other American citizens, which is war against the United States. This is speaking to how much of an enemy the U.S. military is, because it is, with both of its eyes open, engaging in proceeding with, levying war when it has been a matter of what is evidence and communicated as such, where the entity is not prepared for what the federal government is going to respond with regard to levying war against this country, and this country is going to respond to the homosexuals, cloaking themselves as upright military men and women. No, they're not, and it's known who you are. And the people of the state levying war against the United States, against American citizens who have every right to be protected by the United States, and that's exactly what's going to happen. They are not ready for the repercussions, for the response of the United States government to what is levying war. Domestic terrorists that are unprepared for the government to respond. Okay, this is the P.O.C. And this is what's behind corporate entities, gang stalking. This is what's behind the city, any municipality, the local government, gang stalking. This is what's behind police departments that are abusing their position. How do they do that? By gang stalking you and kidnapping you, and which is defaming your character. The entity is unprepared for the U.S. government to respond. But that's what's going to happen. And it's going to be a tremendous response. This is indeed war that the entity has tried to initiate, has engaged in executing unsuccessfully, because I'm telling you about it. I'm breaking it down for you step by step. And I'm also letting you know about the protection that you have in Christ Jesus. If you do not already know him, if you have not already humbled yourself before him, the Lord God Almighty, who was giving you a message, a warning, because he's coming back. He's coming back in judgment, and you're watching him demoralize, humiliate the enemy. He's literally being prosecuted. Satan, who is a spirit, is being prosecuted in a court, physically being prosecuted. That's the power of God. The U.S. military have been brought down to what is nothing other than a bunch of dizzy clowns that practice homosexuality. And they associated that with some sort of successful warfare. They're mentally ill. They're going into mental clinics. They're going to be committed. That's the power of God. This is P.O.C. It's 7:20 a.m. and the entity is engaged in what is a lost endeavor. There is no ongoing war. I want to let you know what's happening. The U.S. government is taking aim and squaring up regarding how they're going to respond to the attack of the U.S. military. That's what's happening to the people of the state that have levied war against the United States, which is what I represent. That's what's happening, because there is no ongoing. They're gang stalking, and they're doing so against somebody that has exposed it. They're already prosecuted. Understand? Paul Leon is expecting to go to prison. He knows it. So what they're doing what the mentally ill do, what psychopaths do, what corrupt government officials do, what they're accustomed to getting away with, but they're not getting away with anything. And so they're spinning their wheels. They're spinning their wheels. And they are clarifying all who are enemies of this country. That's what they're doing for you who are paying attention. They're clarifying they are very much enemies of this country, and that's not being missed, because the U.S. government is responding. They have tactics. They have an actual method. There is an actual strategy here. Unlike these clowns that I'm prosecuting. And they are not prepared for the United States to respond, but respond it shall. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:21 a.m.
Mickey's going to prison. She's a psychopath. That's the U.S. military. She's been targeting me with the U.S. military, with the Ontario Police Department for years, and she's going to prison. All right, remember Mickey's on video inside of this library after 5 p.m. and this fake sun is aimed on my face while she's a psychopath walking on engineered light that's on the inside of this library. And she's doing that while the U.S. military is gang stalking me by planes, and while I'm subject to gang stalking, which I've been documenting Mickey and sharing and deriving pleasure with the Ontario Police engaging in gang violence at 8:38 in the morning here. The Ontario Police that are gang stalking in the evening upon my exit, stalking me by helicopter. Mickey's going to prison, okay? She's one of the local psychopaths who are going to federal prison for targeting as a hostile demon who is frustrated because she's not able to accomplish murdering me and psychologically torturing me. She's a part of what is kidnapping in June of 2022. She's been engaged in systematic monitoring for years. She's going to prison under all circumstances. And she's a regular vagina monitor. She's a sex offender. All right, this is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaged in that together, and she wants to take opportunity to engage in gang stalking me at 7:35 a.m. at the Ovid Family Community Library, where she's at work at the Ovid Family Community Library after 5 p.m. and on the inside, she is gang stalking me, where this sun would never be shining through the entrance doors 10 hours from now. And also not only shining through, but it's aimed on me while I'm sitting at computer station number 1. This is on video. Mickey's going to prison and she's stalking with light. She's going to be subject to regular mental examinations along with her co-defendant, the homosexuals of the United States military that are aiding and putting Mickey away, not accomplishing any sacrifice. Okay, in the same way that your homosexual activity isn't accomplishing any sacrifice. Satan has relegated you to being nothing other than a bunch of homosexuals. You don't have any spiritual power. People need to know about what it is that you're participating in, and it will not exert any authority over you in the spiritual realm. They're just homosexuals, that's it. And these homosexuals are going to prison. P.O.C. These are all the demons that are gang stalking with the city of Ontario. The U.S. military that is stalking in alignment to traffic over Bethel Congregation. During the 9 a.m. hour, 9JQV 990, co-conspirator of murder, stalking on the roads and the highways under the fake sun. This is the P.O.C. This is the U.S. military that has levied war against an American citizen. And the U.S. government is responding. They are going to respond against the terrorists who are the people of the state. This is treason. And this is stalking in psychopathic manners on the roads and the highways, in the specific environment, and using planes and helicopters. P.O.C. Every single last one. 48382 Nancy 2, DSNY 4LF, 8JUM 943, 9PEC 713, El Pescador, the bucket crab and crawfish, the Bethel Congregational Church, where that demon calling himself a pastor is gang stalking me by helicopter while I'm inside of that church, which is hours from now. All right, Unity has the fake sun over me while they are stalking me while I'm going into the city of Upland. This is the federal prosecution of the domestic terrorists who are the people of the state. Psychopaths keep you under surveillance in order to murder you, and this is criminal surveillance in the U.S. This is exposing and advocating on behalf of those that are outside of the United States, because the United States is a domestic terrorist and is a terrorist throughout the world, terrorizing and murdering people as they are gang stalking me, an American citizen in California, in the USA. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:31 a.m. If that's okay. Morning, Kiki.
Good morning.
Pretty flowers.
Oh, thank you. I'm getting ready to put them away. Actually, as I'm talking to you, I'm just moving for the bouquet.
And make sure it's fully powered.
Yeah, this one's not charged all the way. You have one that's...
It's not?
No.
Okay, let me get you.
Okay.
And then you're in.
This is pacing while you go back and forth, checking the laptops that they're keeping under surveillance. This is, again, entertaining the anonymity of the pattern of conduct. Everything's an excuse to pace. Everything's an excuse for presence. You have Joy, Kiki, and Alan. They're all subject to federal prison. The fake sun came into Upland over me and is now over the roof of the library.
Okay, let's try round two.
Okay.
Hopefully we get it in 2 tries this morning.
Alrighty.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Just okay?
Oh no, I'm blessed. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm preoccupied.
I'm
No,
not
I'm
giving you
always
a hard
good.
time.
I'm just a little focused right now. I'm fine though. Oh, it's not on yet.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I don't find that actually helps in any circumstance, but I mean, I appreciate the positive thoughts, the energy, the positive energy.
How
Yes,
was
sure.
that one?
It's coming on. Hold on. It's taking a minute to come on.
Yeah, the usual.
Did I give you my library card yet?
Not yet.
I'm sorry. Here you
Oh,
go.
that's okay. We're waiting to get the right.
This one is fine. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Let me just make sure because some of the apps were missing. Oh, this one has Word. Okay. The other one was missing the Word app, Microsoft Word. Here you go.
All right. Well, we got it on the second try. That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
No, we've had this, right?
Yes. Where you had to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth again.
There's times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's been no joke.
But at least you get a workout. That's always good. Aerobics.
I get my steps in, right?
Do you have any disinfectant wipes that I can use? If not, I'll take some paper towels.
No steady. Oh, no, we only have this steady room available right now.
It's okay. All right. Oops, excuse me. Do you have any disinfectant wipes, Ellen? Any disinfectant wipes?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm just letting you go ahead and
Oh, you're good. That's fine.
It is currently 10:29 a.m., by the way. The entity is at the same time keeping the fake sun over, just for example, the Ontario Village Shopping Center, the Stater Brothers parking lot, where the mentally ill are stalking with light under an environment that is exposing all of them, sharing in mental illness, that is a national security threat, sharing in criminal activity, which is treason, while they are engaging in what is the criminal conspiracy to murder the one whom they are stalking. That bullseye, which is with regard to the defendant, that is the entity that's engaged in gang stalking, and the target are both identified under that fake sun that is not in any natural environment sharing presence over the Ontario Village Shopping Center in Ontario, California, over the Fontana Lewis Library in Fontana, California, aboard any route of Omnitrans going through San Bernardino County, remaining over the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library where I just left. And the entity is gang stalking me as an entire system as that fake sun, meaning that environment and that entity stalking in that environment, including on the roads and the highways. That is the central means of surveillance throughout the state. Okay, this is why you have what is in society and on the West Coast in California. This is speaking to the centrality, the necessity, the requirement, the dependency upon transportation. This is relevant to the surveillance society that is here. This is why you are dependent upon and necessitating this system that's present is necessitating transportation. It is because it is a core means of surveillance. And the entity that's engaging in criminal surveillance will make it such that in order to survive effectively, transportation is required. That is inherent to the surveillance system. Okay, this is the P.O.C. on the roads and the highways, on the freeways. Okay, on the train tracks, the entities engaging in what is that pattern of conduct. It is currently 10:31 a.m. The entity, as you also know, because COLLIN SHEEHY is a vagina monitor that's engaging what is stalking me using fire trucks, pacing around on the roads and the highways upon my exit at 5:59 p.m. So this is the prosecution already at the outset while I'm documenting Kiki, Alan, and Joy, who are mentally ill. These are state actors as employees of the Upland Public Library. Gang stalking. Gang stalking is that what you're doing while you're trying to murder someone maliciously with regard to the system of public corruption. And because of that, because of the status of employment, because of the years of documentation, because of the criminal offenses that the Upland Public Library have committed, all of that is relevant to what is federal prison. It is currently 10:32 a.m. This is P.O.C. It is currently 4:21 p.m. I want you to hear the plane activity while the U.S. military is engaging in surveillance with a bunch of minor children who are, what you need to know, demon-possessed and equally engaged in terrorism. All right, this child is being used as a means of activity creation. They're being used as a means of crossing path for what is stalking, pursuant to monitoring with the U.S. military. That's sounding plane activity as I begin capturing what is damning evidence. You see this communication device? They're monitoring, and they know what I'm documenting right now. He's also monitoring my vagina. He's a sex offender. He's a demon. He's a co-conspirator of murder. This is impossible light activity as you analyze the environment with what's happening at the same time yesterday. Exhibit A.
He's walking in step with the fire truck, and the fake sun's right here above me. It's P.O.C. This is mental illness. While the entity engages in this pattern of conduct, they're mentally ill. And all the people that you see moving in their vehicles, getting in and out of their cars, are all monitoring.
All right, while you're looking at what are people in an environment that is irreconcilable with nature, such as the sunlight, that's what we would call it in ignorance, that they're walking in, making noise in, maintaining what is plane activity, as you can hear it outside, while they're sitting in, acting like they're reading. You are not reading and focused and learning or doing anything other than surveilling in the specific environment. And let me show you the fake sun over me in Ontario, while it's remaining over me where minors are sharing in the criminal conspiracy to murder. And they are knowingly and intentionally engaging in that. This is P.O.C. 4:21 p.m. is when I'm starting this video. And this is the presence of the light source that is directly over me. By the way, it's over me at this same staircase when I'm walking in at 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so this is the entity that's engaging what is for the gang stalking purposes of the teenagers that are pacing in and out, and the employees that are maintaining amplified audible activity, and the sex offenders that are pacing in and out of the bathroom and maintaining what is watch over the restroom by sitting in front of it while the entity vacillates engineered light, not sunlight. When the light source itself, the sun, the so-called sun, is over the Superior Grocer at 815 North Euclid Avenue. This is the significance of that, while the entity is maintaining what is ongoing plane activity. As you are aware of this, because yesterday I walked back to Ontario from Upland, and the U.S. military followed me with planes, okay? Doing so down Euclid Avenue. This is where they are sitting in this environment. Gang stalking.
Remember when I'm aboard Omnitrans and I'm getting off the bus? The bus is stopping right here in the morning, and the fake sun moves through the window of Omnitrans en route to Fontana. That's how you know AMR is targeting me. The Ontario Fire Department is targeting me. Respado Express is targeting me. Spin Cycle, the laundromat that I'm inside.
This is indeed the P.O.C. It is currently 4:25 p.m. So let's recall everything that's happening inside of this building is occurring also inside of bathrooms, which is under surveillance. And this is the city of Upland that's engaging in the perpetual sex offense. The city of Upland that's doing so with minor children, sharing in what is a state system, okay? The U.S. government's criminal pattern of conduct, where the U.S. military, with the assistance of Marcelo Blanco, of COLLIN SHEEHY, that is Mr. Muncie, Daniel Muncie of the San Bernardino County Fire Department, are gang stalking me. Because there's no sun that would be over the Upland Public Library, over the windows inside of the Upland Public Library, creating any sunlight inside of the Upland Public Library, while it is remaining over me as a matter of evidence in Ontario, California. And this is why you document Satan, while Satan is engaging in targeting you in supernatural manners, such as at 4:25 p.m., where the fake sun are over those that are engaging in criminal activity, and the demon-possessed have cloaked it into what is appearing as though they're providing emergency services. And this is what you're comparing with the environment where those under the age of 18 are engaging in criminal activity as well, cloaking that criminal conduct, that malicious targeting system in furtherance of murder, as teenagers accessing programs to advance them in their literacy endeavors. They're vagina monitors. They're sex offenders.
This is the joke that are the emergency services in Ontario, California. These are gang stalkers that are calling themselves firefighters and EMTs. These are demons, and they're engaged in monitoring. This is light activity, relevant positioning by vagina monitors. American Medical Response is being prosecuted. Ontario Fire, that's Michael GERKEN, and these clowns are under a fake sun. It is currently 4:26 p.m. where the entities engage in criminal activity together. This is demonic. They're all demons. This is the P.O.C. All right, and this is the entity that's engaged. Watch the fake sun move as I move while they're engaging in criminal activity, wearing uniforms that they're all going to be stripped from. This is the joke that they've made of emergency service. They've made a joke at it. It's a mockery. It's embarrassing, and I'm going to embarrass them in federal court. This is treason of the U.S. government. They're going to be federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C. License 1497521. Watch the fake sun moving. This is exactly what Hernandez did. Hernandez is going to prison. License plate 70430B2. They've made a joke out of it. And there will be no AMR, there will be no Ontario Fire Department.
Alrighty, this is the entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct, and like you've seen at the Fontana Lewis Library, like you've witnessed at the venues that are gang stalking, as you're capturing the evidence of psychopathic behavior is what you're witnessing, and the mental illness is shared by those that are equally demon-possessed under 18, okay? The malice is equally underway by those under 18 and asking me to keep the volume down while they're engaging in psychologically torturing me, monitoring my vagina, and gang stalking me with the U.S. military inside of the venue, okay? But this is the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is the Upland Public Library, maintaining the fake sun. The fake sun is over me at the same staircase, remember, where minor children are sharing in terrorism in the U.S. This is the entity that's going to be isolated from the rest of the American people for their protection with regard to what is the necessity of martial law, okay? This is treason. While the entity is engaged in what is levying war, is how Article 3, Section 3 describes it, while the people of the state are engaging in terrorism in concert with the government, by stalking in the path, maintaining criminal surveillance, which is why this environment is filled with engineered light under a fake sun. It is indeed criminal surveillance, targeting an American citizen. All right, and this is where I'm at yesterday at this time at 4:21 and 4:25 p.m. on video, where American Medical Response and Ontario Fire Department, which is the city of Ontario, that is the state that is acting in concert with the U.S. military, are maintaining a fake sun over me. They are demon-possessed while I'm exposing their criminal activity, the criminal activity of a public entity that's conspiring the murder with the U.S. military, that are using the commercial planes and the helicopter activity that the municipalities are complicit to, sharing in with the population that's engaging in the criminal surveillance system, as you see in the neighborhood library, as you see yesterday while I'm at the laundromat. This is juxtaposed with where I'm at now, the Upland Public Library at 450 North Euclid Avenue, in two different cities where the sun is not hovering over this venue, over the roof of the library, while it is at the same time yesterday in Ontario, remaining in Ontario, and remember, setting outside of the Ontario City Hall where it was rising yesterday. Let's recall what we looked at this morning. This is what was reviewed this morning, and this remains the case. The fake sun is over me this morning at 7:05 a.m. And I'm recalling yesterday when I returned to Ontario, where Securitas is gang stalking me, doing so, which is proven through the scientific impossibility that the sun would still be, first of all, over the same person, number one. Number two, that same person has not changed coasts. I didn't leave the state. I remained in the same state. I went up and down one street into two different cities, and that fake sun remained over me for the duration of the day. And this is what I have at the place where, like this morning, the fake sun is rising at the Ontario Civic Center. The fake sun is setting at the Ontario Civic Center, which I'm capturing at 6:10 p.m. yesterday, where I remained in Ontario. It is 4:32 p.m. and the entity is keeping the fake sun in Upland, California, over the roof of the library, as you can see through the roof in this video. In fact, this is the location where the sunrise and the sunset is occurring. This is where the U.S. military is maintaining psychopathic pacing in military aircrafts and commercial airline planes, in concert with the people of the state that are pacing up and down this area that I have circled in red. This is where the entity is maintaining that fake sun rising and setting. Okay, this is where this is ongoing. And then you have the city of Upland that's maintaining the fake sun over me in Upland, California. The same pattern of conduct is shown. The entity keeping the fake sun from morning until sunset. This is on the record. I will remind you of what's already on the record. The Upland Public Library, as you can see, I documented, just like I am in Ontario. March 23rd at 6:53 p.m. walking out is the fake sun. March 24th walking in, or walking toward the same entrance at 7:45 a.m. This is the entity that's engaging in what is maintaining an environment that is conducive to surveillance, where the entity is engaged in targeting along with the U.S. military, where the state is providing instrumentalities relevant for what is criminal monitoring by the U.S. military in that city throughout that state, which is the co-conspirators targeting and furtherance of murder together. The city of Upland co-conspiring murder with the U.S. military, the city of Ontario co-conspiring murder with the U.S. military, and doing so in the environment that is conducive to that, in that supernatural environment, such as the sun remaining at one address for over 10 hours in the day, which is something that NASA has never addressed, which is something that has zero to do with, and it is not explained by nor addressed by global warming, which is, again, relevant to the illusion, where the demon-possessed that are maintaining surveillance have presented many farcical notions such as climate change and global warming, when this is not even the natural environment whatsoever. The entity that is stalking with engineered light flying off of their vehicles, this is getting to the illusion with regard to the entity addressing what is the, it's actually global warming does not address what I have shown, the fake sun remaining over one building for the duration of the day, remaining outside of the doors of one venue for the duration of the day. There necessarily being more than one sun for it to do that and then be anywhere at any time in the state of Florida. Global warming is inadequate and does not address that illusion that NASA has intentionally, with regard to what is maintaining the system or surveillance in the U.S., not address that. Okay, this is the P.O.C. This is the documentation of the city of Upland that's targeting me with the U.S. military and furtherance of murdering me. And it is shown through the entity that is doing so with an infestation of minor children that are pacing all around, engaging in the psychopathic stalking, just like the entity is doing by commercial plane, by military aircraft in the sky space, is what the demon-possessed are doing inside of this building, pacing up and down the stairs, in and out of the bathroom, in and out of all the rooms, stalking me with noise in the engineered light. And these are demons that are sharing in psychopathic behaviors. It's psychological torture, it's sexual violence, it's criminal stalking, and furtherance of murder, doing the bidding of the U.S. government. This is P.O.C. It is currently 4:37 p.m.
This is the U.S. military engaged in gang stalking in concert, which is demonic activity. This is the federal government and the local government and the city of Upland gang stalking an American citizen together. Doing so, specific environment. This is engineered light that's moving across the wall, totally separate from the demons who are in vehicles stalking in the path on behalf of the U.S. military that's occupying the sky space over me in Upland, California, targeting me, stalking. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:34 p.m. where the U.S. military is maintaining ongoing sky space, which the city of Upland is sharing in. But understand that this is the United States criminal pattern of conduct. And this has been the case. This is the U.S. that's maintaining space, presence above me. And the entity likes to show that they are stalking in the city where there are no airports by commercial planes on behalf of what is the U.S. military that are stalking in those commercial airline planes. This is the P.O.C. Right? This is demonic activity. The U.S. military are mentally ill. All right? That's impossible light activity, not coming from the bike. That's a demon that's creating light activity. That's impossible light. Just like driving under the fake sun does not cause light to shoot off the side of your vehicle. Just like those are not headlights from the vehicle at a distance away from the sidewalk. These are indeed demons, and these are demons of the United States military. They're not stars. This is the U.S. military. And I'm going to prosecute because the U.S. military has levied war while I am exposing it in the United in California, in Upland, California to be specific. These are all domestic terrorists that are targeting you in concert with the federal government. And they want you to know that Mike Lorenz, that Marcelo Blanco, that COLLIN SHEEHY, that Daniel Muncie are targeting you. What they don't want you to collect is the fact that it's the U.S. of conduct, but we already knew that at the outset. My evidence in 2018 are describing stars in the sky that are not stars, that remain stationary over my vehicle, while they're maintaining ongoing psychopathic pacing above the roof of my car. In Pomona, California, that's the federal government, that's the military. It has been the military, and then they engage in what is stalking in helicopters so that people like Mike Lorenz can go straight to prison. And Marcelo Blanco can go straight to federal prison. And the U.S. military are demon-possessed. Okay, this concoction of the U.S. government is demon possession of those that are in the military, sitting in positions in the federal government. That's not sunlight or headlights. That's impossible light activity. This is P.O.C. This is ongoing gang stalking. The U.S. military is responsible for gang stalking. The U.S. military is responsible for monitoring my vagina in the bathroom. The U.S. military is stalking while you see this impossible light activity while distance away from the wall. Oh, you think that's their headlights? It's not. Those are all demons, though, and they're all stalking me with the U.S. military that's above me in the sky space. In military aircrafts that are supposed to appear as stars in the sky. P.O.C. This is the city of Upland that's sharing in the criminal conspiracy to commit murder. And it is currently, while the mentally ill stalk me from Upland, California back to Ontario, California, it's 8:37 p.m. P.O.C. Alrighty, engaging in sexual assault and battery in the middle of the street. License plate, 9 Sam Thomas Mary 624. Molesting with the U.S. military. U.S. military, they're going to be committed, and so are the people of the state. This is an ambush conduct that they're sharing in together, accosting you with light while they're monitoring. And this is pointless behavior at that. Costing millions of dollars, a lot of manpower, speaking to what is tremendous corruption. You're talking about what is incriminating everyone, while the entity goes out of its way to merely stalk you with light. This is exposing to you the fact of demon possession and the fact of what is criminal monitoring, that is gang stalking. This is P.O.C. That third party is subject to what is commitments. And the U.S. military, I want to be clear, the entire U.S. military is going to be subject to what is mandatory commitments. It's the same with the gang stalking police officers. They share the same mental illness. And this is going to be built into the prosecution for the treasonist betrayers that are engaging in what is levying war. And you want to levy war in the United States against American citizens, and doing so in this absurdly deranged manner. You have pleaded the federal government, and they're going to deliver, all right? In your response to levying war, they're going to deliver you to the medical professionals that are waiting to give you the attention that you are due. This is the entity that's engaged in what is exposing its own instability, and it's going to be acted upon. This is P.O.C. Here's my shadows surrounding me, where demons are molesting me on the roads and the highways while they're stalking with the United States military, the entity that has nothing else to do. So the federal government's going to give these demons something to do. They're gonna get something to do. And it's going to be 23 hours a day in federal cells. They're gonna have something to do 23 hours a day. It is currently 8:54 p.m. This is the city of Upland sharing in the pattern of conduct, not different nor distinct, not deviating in any manner from the pattern of conduct underway in Ontario, California, where the U.S. military is maintaining criminal surveillance with the state of California. Demons. This is P.O.C. This is the entity, what they're doing over the Ontario City Hall. What do you think is going to happen to Paul Leon? He's going to prison. He's going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:55 p.m.